Hey friends, I heard that Cam was finally able to get up and over the mountain, so he won't be back for a few hours. So we'll ask him about it later. I'm here. I made it. What happened to you? Driving a train isn't supposed to be this tiring, is it? I thought the train did all the work.
Well, everything went great. We made it over the mountain and delivered the M&Ms, and everyone was so happy. But then we turned around and started to head back, and it wasn't until then that I started thinking about trying to get back here even faster.
Aw, did you miss us?
Of course I did, but to get here faster, we had to make more steam. But in order to make more steam, we had to add more coal. So we kept putting more coal in the furnace, but we had to get even more steam and go even faster. So we put in even more coal and more until all of that coal was put in there and we were trying to go faster. And then...
You made it back super fast?
No, we ran out of coal.
Oh, that sounds frustrating and tiring.
Yeah, and just when I thought we were gonna make it, the engine stopped. I had to hike all the way back here by myself while the rest of the crew stayed by the train to keep it safe.
Well, I guess everything has to come to an ending at some point. Coal runs out, trains stop, parties end, people graduate from school, grown-ups retire. Ending is a part of life.
Wow, that's not the most encouraging thing you've ever told me.
Let me finish. Today, my friends and I are learning that Jesus' power lets us live forever. Thanks to Jesus, life continues forever.
Wow, that actually is the most encouraging thing you've ever told me.
See, I just needed to end my story.
But I've never known anyone who's lived forever.
Then it sounds like you need to hear more about Jesus, Cam. I'm happy to tell you all about him because he's my forever friend.
Let me find a train that can go rescue the rest of my crew. But when I get back, I want to come and hear more about this Jesus, this forever friend of yours.
All right, I'll be waiting right here when you get back.
All right, see you later.
Are you ready to splash into another fantastic day at VBS? I'm Finn, a rainbow trout. I'm happiest when I'm taking a dip in a clean, bubbly mountain stream. Ah, this is the life. This stream is where I began life. This exact spot where I hatched is pretty important to me, but we'll get to that later. I spend most of my day flipping my fins, swishing my scales, and exploring this awesome river looking for food. I love to eat. Me and my fishy friends spend about 80% of our day looking for food. I use my mouth to poke around and look for good stuff to eat. And sometimes I end up getting a mouthful of weeds and sticks. Not bad. Of course it's not as good as the bugs or the crustaceans I usually like. I'll even jump out of the water for them. God gave me something super sharp to help me find food. My eyes. They show me what to eat and what to stay away from. After being born, I might travel to a new stream far away from my home. But when it's time to lay eggs, rainbow trout always return home. My cousins, steelhead trout, travel from a freshwater stream all the way to the ocean. Even if they've lived in the ocean for a couple of years, they swim against the stream to make it back home. That takes a lot of power. Wow. Home is important to me and my fish family. Jesus knew that a forever home was important too. That's why Jesus died, to pay for all the wrong things you've ever done or will ever do. Because those sins are paid for, you can have life forever in an awesome place called heaven. But Jesus' power doesn't just cover your sins. Jesus is so powerful that he beat death forever. But it gets even better. The Bible tells us the Spirit of God, who raised Jesus from the dead, lives in you. That means a friendship with Jesus gives you the same awesome power that let him beat death. Wow! So, if you're feeling worried or sad, or things seem out of control, remember that Jesus' power is bigger than anything, and it's right there for you. Jesus' power lets us live forever. Trust Jesus.
Welcome back. Day 4, of Chester Baptist Church Vacation Bible School, Rocky Railroad. Tonight, I wanted to talk to you about a song that you've been hearing all week and how it connects to you. You, God's perfect, wonderful creation. God made you, and He made you to be in friendship with Him, to be beloved of Him. He made your brains, your looks, your bodies, your talents. He made all of you with love. One of the things we found is we start out loving God, but Satan gets in the way. Satan starts telling us things, tells us lies. And when we believe those lies, when we start to follow them, that's called sin, and it separates us from God. Satan says, you don't need God. You can do it on your own. You're strong enough. You're good enough. You're okay all by yourself. And when that happens, it tears that loving relationship that we have with God. Tonight, I want to tell you about that hymn that we were talking about. On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. So, emblem means symbol. And the reason that the cross was a symbol of suffering and shame was not because Jesus did anything wrong. In fact, if he were getting awards, he would get awards for being the kindest, the most loving, the most caring. But the cross was used as punishment for the worst of the criminals. And that's where Jesus went. I love that old cross, where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. Jesus went to the cross for us. And he said, if somebody is going to pay the price, let it be me. That's a hard thing to accept, isn't it? It makes me sad to think about someone who never did anything wrong taking the punishment for me. And so, I'm going to cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. We all go through life and we pile up things that show what we've accomplished. Memories, good friends, awards, and there's nothing wrong with that. When we look at it as the gift of God, He's given us the power, the ability, the love that lets us flourish. And then we honor God for that. Then it's good. So when I come to the end of my life and I lay those trophies down that don't mean anything, and I join with Jesus, and at that time, I will cling to this old rugged cross and exchange it one day for a crown. You and I and all of God's children are going to be welcomed into heaven. We're going to join that loving Father who's been waiting for us all this time. And when we come, we can say, thank you, Jesus. Thank you for loving me. Hi
guys, and welcome back to day 4 here at Imagination Station. I am so excited that you guys are back for another fun day and to make another super fun sciencey gizmo. Today's is a little different, but it's still going to be really fun. It just requires a little bit more imagination. Oh, speaking of imaginations, did you guys remember to bring yours today? Oh, I see some of you did, but you know, they looks a little dried out. You know what? It's okay. I can fix this. I was talking to my friend Finn. Oh, you've met Finn. Finn the rainbow trout. Yes, me and Finn are friends, and I was talking to him earlier, and he was telling me some super fun rainbow trout facts. And one of them was that rainbow trout, when they're adults, they swim back to the same river that they were born in to have their babies when they're adults. How do they know where to find the river? There's so many rivers. I would get lost. But they know after they grow up and they go to a different area, they always know exactly where to come back to. And I thought that was such a cool fact that God gave them such an amazing skill of navigation, of knowing where they're going. So I was thinking maybe we could pretend to be like Finn and we could make fishy faces. Do you guys like to make fishy faces? All right, let's try it. So I want you to show me your best fishy face on the count of 3. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Oh, I loved your fishy faces. Did you guys think mine was funny too? I think fishy faces are funny. So why don't we try to do something maybe a little different? Do you think, since rainbow trout always go back to where they're born, that you can make a fishy face and say where you were born at? Might be a little hard. It sounds a little tricky. Let's try it. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Chester, Virginia. Yeah, see, I can't talk in a fishy face. That one's kind of hard, but that's okay. But it's so cool. Everybody was born in different areas, and I think that's so exciting. Do you want to know another super fun rainbow trout fact? Okay, you ready? It's time for a question. So, do rainbow trout only have teeth on the top of their mouth or only have teeth on the bottom of their mouths? All right, I'll let you think about it. It's kind of a weird question because they don't have both. They have one or the other. So, give you a second. Do they only have teeth on the tops of their mouths or on the bottom? All right, you ready? Drum roll. Rainbow trout only have teeth on the roof of their mouth. Only have teeth on the top. Isn't that crazy? I think God used imagination to make that. I think that is so fun that they're so different. It's just fun how God made every creature and everything so different. Ava has her special call. Sierra jumps really high. Finn has fun teeth. Everybody's different, and that's so fun. So today, we're talking about Jesus giving us the power to live forever. I know forever sounds like a long time, but heaven is going to be amazing. It sounds so cool. And I know sometimes here on earth, things get a little hard. I know right now, there's a lot of people that are sick, and it's really hard not going to school, or maybe you are going to school and you have to wear masks everywhere, and it's really hard. But that's okay, because God is in control. He's gonna see us through this. But sometimes, like right now, things get kind of hard. But one day, our lives here on earth will end, and we will get to go to heaven. And our sadness will end, and sickness will end, and bullying will end, and all of these things will end, and we will get to live in heaven with Jesus. And there'll be no more tears, no more sorrow. There'll be light and joy, and Jesus will be there, and God, and we get to hang out with everybody, and it's going to be so amazing, and our joy will be endless. And because Jesus gives us the power to live forever. And I'm so excited and thankful to know that when we know Jesus, that Jesus has that special power for us. And you know, the cool thing about the story is it just goes on and on and on because we'll just live in heaven forever. And another cool thing that goes on and on and on is our fun science gizmo. So today's is a little bit different than the rest. I know what you're thinking. They're really hard. They're flopping all over the place. But if you can, it might take you a minute. Sometimes it takes me, see look, it messed up already. That's okay. These are a little tricky, but you'll get it. You just have to practice. So we're gonna start out with Ramsey. You guys remember Ramsey from day one? He's our big horned sheep. And so Ramsey remembers that Jesus gives us the power to do hard things. And right here it has a little space where you're gonna draw a hard thing that Jesus helped you through. Maybe you can write about it if you don't want to draw. You can draw a picture, just something that, maybe if you were having a hard time at school, you could draw a picture of your school and maybe Jesus helped you through school. Or maybe a soccer ball. Maybe you had a hard time doing something with sports and you could draw a soccer ball or something. Whatever you want to draw, whatever Jesus has helped you do when you had to do a hard thing, you can draw right there. And now, so this part, it gets a little tricky, so stay with me. This part's pretty easy though. You're going to fold Ramsey back, and then you might need to hold these parts. And you fold this part back, and now we have Ava. And Ava reminds us that Jesus gives us the power to hope. And so what you're going to do is Ava wants us to write or draw a note to thank Jesus for the hope that he gives us. So why don't you think of something that God gives you hope for? Maybe you've had a hard day, it's just not been a good day, and you come home, maybe your mom made you a special treat, or your brother did something nice for you. Just something simple of ways that Jesus puts other people in your lives or things in your lives or does special things to you that gives you hope during hard times. So that one is for Ava. And then what you're going to do is you're going to flip Ava up. Oops. See, mine flips too. It's okay. They're kind of hard. That's okay. So you're going to flip Ava up, and then you're going to flip this part down, and now we have Sierra. And Sierra reminds us that Jesus' power helps us to be bold. So I want you to tell about a time when you were bold. Sometimes it can be really hard to be bold. I know one time I had a friend at school who was being bullied, and I went up to her bully and I said, you know what, I don't think you should do that. That's not a very nice thing to say. And I went and told the teacher. And sometimes things like that could be hard. And it's being bold, and you just stand up for somebody else if you see something not right happening, or you tell an adult when something not right's happening. Something as simple as that. It takes a lot to be bold. So that one is for Sierra. So you can write either here, maybe you want to do this on a separate piece of paper if you want to. You can write a time when you were bold. And now what you do is you open this part up, and now we're on Finn. And Finn reminds us that Jesus' power lets us live forever. So you can draw what you think heaven will look like. I think that would be really cool. I know the Bible tells us that there's gold and pearls and lots of light, and it's going to be gorgeous. But what do you think it's going to look like? Why don't you use your imagination and you can draw a picture, and maybe you can share it with somebody else, and you guys can see if you guys have the same ideas or different ideas, because I think all the ideas are super fun to see. And then you know what? Maybe when you're done, if you wrote on it somewhere else, or maybe even if you wrote on it, you could show another friend, because it just flips right back to Ramsey, and you can just keep going, and it just never ends. Just like how Jesus gives us the power to live forever. Our perpetual paper just keeps going and going and going and going. Gets a little messed up, sometimes that happens, but that's okay, and it'll just fix right back up. And you can just keep using it and keep doing it. Maybe if you did it on a separate piece of paper, you could give it to a friend as something fun to do, and you guys could just, maybe something you could do together, or something you could do with your parents, or something you could do with a friend. I think that would be a really fun idea. But I really appreciate you guys being here with me today. I know this one was a little different and a little hard, but I think you guys are going to do awesome. So, thank you for being here, and I will see you guys tomorrow for day 5. Bye.
Hey guys, it's Michelle again. I'm here to talk about Kid Vid Video for day 4 for our Railway series here, and just wanted to let parents know if you're at home watching with your kids, today's topic is going to be a little bit of a sensitive one, so you might want to preview it first before your kids watch the video, but Otherwise, we're going to go ahead and delve right in. So I give everybody a chance to pause it if you need to. So I'm going to go ahead and do our introduction now for our KidVid video. So today you're going to meet a boy named Isaac. And Isaac had a sad thing happen in his family. He had a brother named Joel, and Joel died from something called cancer. And that doesn't happen very often, especially to kids, and it's not something that you need to be afraid of or to worry about. But Joel was a friend of Jesus, and Isaac and his family are glad to know that Joel's in a wonderful place called heaven to live forever with Jesus. So in this video, you're going to get to see how Isaac handles all of that, and you're going to get to see Joel in the video with Isaac, his brother, and we're going to see how excited Isaac is to see his brother in heaven one day. He's going to talk about those different things and how he's dealt with that. So here's your video.
I'm Isaac and I'm 11 years old. At home I like to, a lot of times I play video games. I have two brothers. One's older than me. He's into acting and singing. My younger brother Elijah, he's 7. My sister's name is Zoe, but she, like a normal 4-year-old toddler, will make messes all the time, paint on the walls.
Isaac also dances.
I started dancing, I think like 2 years ago. My favorite kind of dance is contemporary or lyrical. It's sort of like ballet, but it's a little more free. I always felt like when I was dancing, I wasn't really stressed about anything or worried. Sort of forget about anything else that is bothering you.
Isaac had another brother named Joel.
Joel was 2 years younger than I am. He was always really happy and joyful. When he was 1, he was diagnosed with brain cancer.
Cancer is a disease that most kids do not have or get.
He had to do some crazy thing to get rid of it, and it was gone for a year. But then it came back and they said he only had a few months to live, but then he lived 5 more years.
Sadly, Isaac's little brother Joel died.
One of the things I remember a lot about him is he always had that like little giggle. He always loved knocking cup towers down. So he'd make one that was like maybe double the size of him, and he'd run into it and it would come down and he'd laugh so hard. A lot of times we'd take him to this farm. It was like a petting zoo in some places, and you could feed the animals. I have this one memory of Joel. He was feeding the goats, so we give him the bag to reach in and give to the goats, but then he just gives the bag to the goats, and the goat devours the whole thing. Joel always loved animals. One time he got to ride a pony and he was so happy. He loved it.
Isaac misses his brother Joel. Joel loved Jesus and believed in him too.
A lot of times I feel sort of like I miss him and pretty sad, but I'm glad that he's in heaven and he can do so many things that I can't even do right now. Dancing always like cheers me up because it makes me think about God and how he's with Joel and he is amazing.
Isaac knows that because of Jesus, he will be able to see his brother again in heaven.
I sort of look forward to hearing his giggle, and I look forward to running up to him and giving him a grand old hug.
In the Bible, the book of Romans, chapter 8, verse 11 says, "The Spirit of God who raised Jesus from the dead lives in you."
I feel like that verse makes me feel like sort of hopeful that we can share the power of God and the Holy Spirit with the whole world, and that one day we can all know Jesus and God and praise and worship together. Even if we die, we still get to live forever in heaven with God, and Jesus' power is letting you live forever.
Jesus' power lets us live forever.
Okay guys, I see that we're back from watching the KidVid video. So thanks for watching the video today. I think it's normal to feel a little sad after watching a video about a boy that died. But there's also a lot of hope in the story. And hopefully you got to see that when you got to meet Isaac and hear all the things that he had to say about his brother Joel. Joel loved Jesus, and he's in heaven with Jesus right now. So that's an awesome thing that we can think about, even though it's a really sad story. The happy thing to think about is Joel's not sick anymore, and he doesn't have to deal with any of his treatments for cancer. So sometimes when we have difficult or hard or sad things to think about, using Jesus, as we've learned on our other days, can give us strength to go through those things. So we're going to ask a question now after watching the video. Moms and dads, you can pause after the question, so maybe you guys can have a discussion about it. If your mom and dad isn't there, maybe this is something that you will want to talk to your mom and dad about. But our question today is, do you know anyone who has died? Or has anyone in your family known someone who's died? So that's something that you guys can pause if you need to, and that you can think about. Okay. Just to share for a second, I have had a couple of people in my family who have died. The person that died most recently was my grandfather a few years ago. And even though that was really sad and a difficult thing for me to deal with, knowing that my grandfather is in heaven with Jesus, that he's not dealing with sickness anymore, and that he is happy, has helped me with not having him here with me. But also having great memories of him are another thing. And I feel like our memories are definitely a gift that Jesus gives us to get through those tough times when we do lose somebody that we love. And that we can think about it this way too, that maybe we're not having to say goodbye. It can be see you later, because we'll see him later again in heaven. So those are some things that we can think about. I love how we can be open with each other here at the KidVid Cinema. And it's sad when someone we know, we love, or that we know dies. But the most important thing we want to think about here is the good news, the wonderful news is that death isn't the end, and that Jesus' power lets us live forever. So now I've got another question for you guys, which is, what does the word forever mean to you? So what does the word forever mean to you? Think about that. What does forever mean? So you can think about those things. So because of Jesus, Isaac's brother Joel is living with Jesus right now. Even though maybe Isaac can't see him, his brother's still there, and we can do the same someday. It's okay to be sad when someone dies, but it's so great that the sadness won't last forever. But life with Jesus will last forever. So we can think about those things. So now we have another question, which is, what do you think heaven will be like? Have you thought of that question before? What do you think heaven's going to be like? That's where Jesus lives. So think about those things, and you can talk with mom and dad about that if you want. Or, like I said, if they're not with you right now, you can talk about those things with them in a little bit. So we'll pause for a second. Okay, I love what Isaac said about heaven, that he'll be able to give his brother a grand old hug, and that we'll all know Jesus and praise and worship him together. That sounds like a lot of fun. I think Jesus is going to make heaven a lot of fun. So I'm so thankful to know that Jesus' power lets us live forever. So what we can do is we can thank Jesus, and we can think about all those positive things that we're going to be experiencing with Jesus in heaven one day. So thanks for joining me on day number 4 of KidVid videos, and I will see you guys. Tomorrow's our last day.
Welcome back to day 4 of Rocky Railway. Today, after we sing our theme song, Your Power Will Pull Us Through, we will sing and move to the songs Lions. Oh, did our train go to Africa? And we'll find out. And our final song tonight, We Can Trust in Him.
trusting in you. We're trusting in you. You give us hope and life that's forever. You make us bold and we stand together. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. We're off on this journey, there's no looking back. With Jesus to lead us, we're on the right track. Oh, 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 oh. Wide open spaces for wide open eyes. We're looking ahead for the next big surprise. Oh, 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 oh. We trust, we trust, we trust in you, Jesus. You're all, you're all, you're all that we need. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. You give us hope and life that's forever. You make us bold and we stand together. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. We're off on this journey, there's no looking back. With Jesus to lead us, we're on the right track. Oh, 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 oh. Wide open spaces for wide open eyes. We're looking ahead for the next big surprise. Oh, 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 oh. We trust, we trust, we trust in you, Jesus. You're all that we need. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. We're trusting in you. You give us hope and life that's forever. We stand together. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. Trusting in you. Your power will pull us through. We're trusting in you. Trusting in you. Trusting in you. We're trusting in you. Trusting in you.
Today we live, today we breathe, today we know that we are strong when we are weak. Today we trust, we overcome, take every chain that kept us slaves and throw them off. We're not waiting for permission, we defy our inhibition, like our middle name is fearless, son of red. If we're gonna fly, we fly like eagles, arms out wide. If we're gonna fear, we fear no evil. We will rise by your power.
Woo!